Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. In today's video, we're going to look at Roy Keane's comments he made on Bruno Fernandes and the captaincy. Also, Rio Ferdinand's reaction to Roy's comments. You know the score by now, Reds. Get involved in the chat and we'll discuss some of your comments throughout the video. Now, first of all, I think it's the best way to look at it. Look at Roy Keane's comments and then I want your reaction and your thoughts out there. So, Roy said straight after the Manchester derby, "Today we've watched him again. I would take the captaincy off him 100%. I know it's a big decision. Obviously, they changed the captaincy with Maguire, but Fernandes is not captain material. He is a talented player, no doubt about it. But what I saw today, we've discussed many times before, it was last season at Liverpool. He's whinging, he's moaning, throwing his arms up in the air. He's constantly doing it." Now, your thoughts to that?
I think what you have to do, you have to look at Roy after the game when he came out with it. It was emotional, but also you have to understand, Roy, it was his disappointment. Roy Keane, he was captain of Manchester United, played with some great players, great player himself. So he's judging the captaincy of Manchester United based on his role. And he looks at the role of how he's playing Bruno and what he does to the team. The petulance, that really gets right up Roy Keane's nose. And it's not the way to act as a captain as he sees it. Roy, throughout the game, he'd be on to his players. They were great players what was round him, and he knew if their standards was dropping, and he would be on to him. But with Roy, it wouldn't be petulance. It would be for the team, for the club. You need to step up. You can do better. It was always encouragement in the Roy Keane way. And what you see and what he's reacting to, Roy, is a constant petulance of arms throwing in the air and everything like that. He's judging the captain he sees on the pitch at the moment to what it should be when he was on the pitch and what the club meant and what the team was. He doesn't like it. It's no good for the team as he sees it. It's not the way. He can also see that players aren't reacting to him. Yes, he says Bruno's a good player. We all know he's a good player. But, you know, the captain is there to encourage and set the standard of play, and he's not doing it. Now, there is a reason why that's not happening constantly, that he's leading the side. He's out of position himself. Roy acknowledges he's a good player, which is fine. But Roy Keane has his standards, and what it is, he gets emotionally involved in it because he was the captain of a great side. He was a great player. So when he looks at something like that, it's as though it's an offence to him that someone out there isn't keeping up his standards. That's how I see it with Roy.
The thing is, you're going back to Roy Keane's era, the standards were a lot higher than what they are now. Unfortunately, had a lot better players around him, whereas Bruno Fernandes, he's not got them standards in and around him. So is that why we're seeing bits of frustration, petulance from Bruno, because some of these players aren't at the standard Bruno Fernandes is?
I think when you look at what Roy's saying and what he's been saying for a long time, because this isn't just one outburst. He's had a go last year at the Liverpool game, many other games about his performance as captain. I just look at it and think, these should be the standards. Roy Keane is right. These are the standards of what you should do as a captain. You shouldn't be throwing your arms about. You shouldn't be stood there waving your arms about while the ball's somewhere on the other side of the field. You have to get on with it. You have to do the right thing as captain. And he sees that the right thing isn't being done. And that's what gets him. He bases everything on Bruno as himself. And he looks at Bruno and says, you are not a patch on me. So he will never be as good as Roy Keane. Roy Keane will never accept that Bruno is the right standard for Manchester United. And to be honest with you, you just mentioned standard. Yes, the captain should be in the same mould as Roy Keane. The standard should be set on and off the pitch, and it clearly isn't.
On the pitch, though, you're not really seeing the types of your Roy Keane captain material, though, in the modern era, though. You know, you look at in the past, Roy Keane, Steven Gerrard, John Terry, Patrick Vieira. You don't see them type of players on the pitch anymore because more often than not, they probably get a red card near enough every game in the way they played the game as well. So is it just something we're having to accept instead of going back to the past and accept this is modern football and modern footballers now, and this is just how they react in the game?
Yeah, but listen, teams change, everything changes in life. But the thing is, Roy Keane's telling you that he's not captain material. That's not acceptable for any side, okay? And especially not Manchester United. You don't seem to be getting it in top sides like City, okay? You're not having that at all. You don't get it in the way Liverpool play football. If you look at Arsenal at the moment, they're progressing. You're not seeing that type of it. It comes from the manager. If you look at Klopp, if you look at Pep Guardiola, and you look at the Arsenal manager, it's all on the sideline. That's where it's coming from. There's a difference. So everything's left on the field. And if the player, Bruno, as captain, isn't doing it, it all goes to pot. Roy can see that because his knowledge of the game, of how a captain should be performing, right, is not there for Manchester United. And it's the standards. That's what gets him. You know, when Roy talks, you have to listen to Roy Keane. He knows what it's all about to play for Manchester United, right, and to get to the top of the game. And Manchester United need to be at the top, and he can see a decline. And that is not the standard of what a top team needs as a captain from Roy's point of view.
You've just touched on something there, and what I bring up, you mentioned, you know, managers like Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, you know, through gritted teeth, you've got to say that elite managers, them two. Now, you're looking on our sideline, would you put Erik ten Hag in that bracket where, you know, you're looking at our captain, Bruno Fernandes, where he might need that help, that lift from the sidelines from his manager as well to, you know, get that impact from the sidelines?
Yeah, well, you've got to look at the appointment from Erik ten Hag anyway. He did recently, it was explained, like, there was players there what didn't want the captaincy under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So at the end of the day, you look at the manager now and he's got Bruno as the captain, okay? There's players there what didn't want the captaincy. There is a clear problem. Is he the right manager for this club? I thought he was. He's struggling at the moment. Things aren't going well. And when things don't go well, everyone starts finger pointing and everything. But I have to go back to Roy about the captaincy. 100%. He says he'd take it off him. And what Roy is pointing out is all the petulance. And it is a continuing theme under Bruno. And it goes back, like he pointed out, to the Liverpool game and many other games. And it is not the standard for Manchester United. And players don't react to petulance. You know, you talk about the modern day game, the players and everything else like that. Petulance, listen, the power is with all the footballers. Okay, that's where the power is. And if some teammate or whatever is having a go and all that, they're not bothered. So the way Bruno's going about it, and Roy Keane's pointing it out, is completely the wrong way. He's not doubting his footballing ability. No. He's just doubting the captaincy. And as I go back to it again, Roy is basing it all on what he did and how Manchester United should be and was.
From Bruno's point of view here, the two games that's been highlighted is captaincy from Roy Keane, the Liverpool away here on the Sunday in the Manchester derby. Bruno, both times have been played out of position. Right-hand side in the Manchester derby, on the left-hand side against Liverpool last season. You know, has Ten Hag then also got to look at himself in finding, well, not finding, but putting Bruno in his best position so he can be the captain that we all want him to be?
Well, listen,
so he can concentrate on his own game and also concentrate on helping others from the position he's actually best at.
Bruno can't be a captain out wide. He has to be centre, right? My favourite always has to be a central midfield player as captain or centre half. Yeah, right. And the reason is because then the player is stood there, he can see his left, he can see forward, see to the right, and he can just drop back a little bit and be in there with the back four. And as a centre half, if you're a captain, you've got the full field of view, right? And you can see what's happening. You can talk to players before things happening. He is reacting. He's out wide, and his poor performances have come from out wide. And the petulance is the arm throwing and everything, right? That is coming from frustration. But he shouldn't be frustrated. He should be there commanding, talking, pushing players, not just being petulant. And that is the problem with him when he's played out wide. I give him credit when he plays in the middle. That's his best position. He plays well. I haven't got much criticism of Bruno Fernandes playing in his favourite position, the position he should be. Playing out wide, playing out of position is all down to the manager. And to me, that's wrong. But at the end of the day, he's there. He knows what's needed. But unfortunately, sometimes he lets himself down. And that is the standard. And that can't be right. The standards have to be higher. But at the end of the day, will the manager get it right with the player? Will they come to some... Will they have a chat? Will they get it right? As if say, well, if you want me as the captain, this is where I need to be. And then Roy might look at it and sort of say, well, there is games where he's been out and, you know, out wide and he's not been in his favourite position and it is annoying and he can't really do anything. But he just looks at it, Roy, and says, you ain't no captain because this is what I did. Was the standard. This is what Manchester United deserve. This is what they expect. Especially under Ferguson. So at the end of the day, he just sees a deterioration in what the standards are on that field, and he doesn't just see it in Bruno, he sees it in the whole team, and that is Roy Keane's frustration. He gets emotional, and it's all based on how Roy Keane played football and everything around him.
You've got to look at Bruno, though, last season in the team. I know I don't keep looking back to the past, but you don't get to 2 cup finals if your captain's a duckhead and he's no good. So there must be some qualities there as a captain. You know, some of the squad or the whole squad must look at him as a captain and must be on side with him having that armband, surely. Or do you not see that? Do you see it where the going does get tough? Bruno's not really there as the captain to dig us out of that hole that we need to.
Well, I look at it this way. If you look at the top 6 sides we played away, did Bruno put in a captain's performance? And I put it on that. There was games, don't forget, it was Fortress Old Trafford last year, okay? So did that, cover some of the misgivings, what was going on the pitch on certain games? And there was some poor away performances in that, but it was consistently poor away performances against the top sides, and the captain never featured in any of them. So Roy's looked at that as well.
Well, his performances didn't feature. He did feature on the field, but...
It featured on the... Well, if he's not performing on the field, the captaincy isn't performing. Yeah. If we're not beating top 6 sides and we're supposed to have had a good year last year, okay, then there's something wrong and the captaincy isn't doing the right thing. And Roy has highlighted that throughout last year, and then he's had his big rant after the game, and quite rightly so, against City. Yeah,
I think you just discussed it earlier on. I know we discussed it off camera. The interview Andy Mitten from The Athletic done with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where he said before he gave the captaincy to Maguire, he did actually ask 2 individuals in the squad and he turned it down. Do you think there's a possibility them 2 players are still in this current squad?
2 of them could be. Definitely 1, I think. But then that tells you what it is inside, what is going on inside Manchester United. The team spirit, the squad, not confident, not good enough. Players aren't ready to step up to the plate. They can't man up, and it is poor. And like I've just said to you there, a lot of the games, away games, especially against the top sides, they weren't good enough to take that step, and the captain wasn't able to get them to play and perform, and he didn't play and perform. He turned a lot of them games. If you go back to him, if people out there remember, there was a lot of what Roy Keane doesn't like about Bruno, and that is arm waving, flying about, being always going on with himself, never shuts up. We have pointed that out ourselves many times. That's the thing what annoys me about Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes being played out wide, that annoys Bruno Fernandes. He should be in the middle. He may, if he stays in the middle, become a better captain. But everything what Roy Keane's saying about him, being petulant and all that, is not captain material, and certainly not for Man United, because that is not the standard.
Do you not see Bruno Fernandes, though, when he is played out of position, getting frustrated because he's looking at players around him not doing his job, and then he just starts trying to just take too much on himself, trying to do other people's job, which then affects his game and where he should actually be playing with the instructions given from Erik ten Hag?
I don't think any player likes being played out of position, but as a captain, I don't think it works. I think he knows that himself. It's not working. He knows he needs to be in the middle where everything's going on, ticking, helping the back 4 down the middle, down up front. Away he goes, dictating the play. Give me the ball, and he springs it out wide. He's not the player to sit out wide waiting for the ball. He needs to be involved, and it's frustrating for him, and it's not good enough. To be honest with you, as a captain, he should have been kicking that door down to Ten Hag and just kicking it in the office, just kicking the door down in the office and saying, what are you doing with me? I am looking bad because I'm out of the game. I can't do what I'm supposed to do. Get me back in that middle. So as a captain, he really should have just kicked the manager's door down and demanded to be in that middle. Roy Keane would have done it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Fair point, that. Just going into the chat, the life of Riley. I wish it was right now, mate, to be honest with you. It says, to be honest, to be honest with you, it was for all to see on Sunday why Bruno shouldn't be captain. His head fell right off.
Yeah.
Did you think it fell off? Well, what did you think his first half performance?
I think the first half...
I thought it was two very different performances, me.
Well, you can say about the whole team. The tactics and everything sent the second half was completely different than the first. It was a battling performance. Opportunities were granted. We were still in the game. So it was fine. I didn't really... Based on who we was playing, Manchester City, the way they play, we was under pressure quite a lot, especially from corners. But we dealt with all that. We dealt with it all. Onana, yeah, a couple of good saves. You expect a few chances from City, but I thought United dealt with it. I thought Bruno dealt with it. And then it all changed in the second half. And that was because of the manager's tactical mistake. Simple as. And then it all went to pot. Everybody went to pot. But Bruno should have had the captain's, how can I say it? The captain's mentality to keep players focused.
Yeah.
And he loses his focus. And it's typical in big games. And to give Roy Keane credit, he has consistently highlighted the lacking and the failure of Bruno as a captain. And to be honest, you cannot argue when you look at all the big games away from home that Bruno has been captain. It's just not done it because the team hasn't done it. If the team's not done it, then that's down to the captain, a lot of it, because he's not been able to get them focused or keep them focused. And Roy highlights it all the time for the simple reason he takes offence at it because of what he was as a player, what he was as a captain, and what the standards were. So to me, Roy, when he does an emotional and is disappointed with his reaction about Bruno, it's because he's looking at himself,
Yeah,
and
you can see it's frustrating him as well, seeing the performances on the pitch from
Things
the players
should be better.
And the captain Bruno. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Alex J59 says the captain can only be a defender. I only say that because none of our forwards or midfielders are leaders. But if you look at the defence, I think there's one name you might mention, but who would be your captain or your preference?
My preference would have been Martinez, centre half, sees the game, strong. People look up to him. People know he's a fighter. And he gets stuck in, does his job. And to be honest with you, people look at it and think, well, if I was in the trenches, he's the man I'd be in with. He does fight. He gets stuck in. No nonsense. And he's a leader and he's a fighter. And that's the man I would have picked. And as centre half, like I said before, he can see the game. He can see it developing. And he can also pull players back into the game and help out. But to me, Bruno, unfortunately, his captaincy's not been helped by being moved out, especially this year.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back into the comments like we were saying before about the players around Bruno. Shouldn't they be helping out, giving him a lift as well and getting stuck in? And VJ says, however, though, Bruno for Portugal is insane, so the talent is definitely there. And you are seeing contrasting performances recently over the last few months for Portugal and Manchester United. Yeah,
two different leagues, international football, Premier League. Also, the quality of the players. You know what is going on at Manchester United. Some of these players just down tools.
So it's the culture, really, isn't it? What's going on?
It's in and around. It's who you know, what you know. Some people are sat here at Old Trafford, and we know it. There's no point denying it. There's players here waiting for the exit door. We've got a squad. Unfortunately, a lot of them's injured. We're having to bring players in, players there. The club doesn't know where it's going. Players don't know where they're going. There's no consistency. There's no togetherness here at Manchester United. It's clear as the sun.
Yeah, Rio Ferdinand did come back. I'm just going to read a snippet, and he did say, saying that is absolutely crazy, because one of Erik ten Hag's biggest problems has been the amount of sagas there's been outside of the pitch. And he does say there's a big decisions. The armband at a football club is massive decision. Yeah, it's a massive decision, basically. And to do that now at Manchester United, it'd only just give Erik ten Hag another saga to deal with. And it's not necessarily needed right now. It's not a massive problem, he's trying to say.
He's blaming it on the sagas. He's making excuses.
I did actually have the full snippet up there, but as I was reading it out, I completely lost it. So I had to actually make it up in my head. So if you are watching, Rio, apologies for that, mate.
Yeah, well, he's talking about he's got excuses, Bruno, because of all the sagas on and off the pitch. Listen, it's Manchester United. There's a saga every day. This is how it is.
Yeah.
When David Beckham was in the team, there's a saga every day. That's just one player. So having sagas as an excuse is poor. Listen, at the end of the day, Rio didn't even turn around and say, is it right? Should he be captain? Should he not be captain? He's just saying, who would be the captain? Well, who would be the captain if you took it off Bruno?
I've just got it back up now, briefly. Hopefully it stays up. He says, who else is there? If there was somebody jumping off the page that you go, okay, yeah, he should actually go and get it, I would say, yeah. Okay, you consider that, but throwing out comments like that, and then he went on to say it's crazy from Roy Keane.
Well, it's not crazy from Roy Keane. Roy Keane is pointing out what the standards should be and what a captain should be. Simple as.
But Roy Keane's also saying to strip him of the captaincy, so shouldn't Roy Keane then be given a solution as to someone else in the squad who he would like to give it to or be the captain of Man United?
I think when you look at Roy's comments, he was asked about should he still be captain, and he kept to the theme. Roy wasn't going to debate about in the squad who should or shouldn't be. That comes at another time, and that's down to the manager. What Roy was saying, he is not good enough to be the captain, and he should be stripped of it. Rio is trying to get a little bit more of a debate. All he's doing is slagging Roy Keane off, saying he's outrageous, coming out with comments like that. But he knows Roy Keane and his standards. So he should know better to say that Roy is wrong. And he should also understand that Roy is coming at it from the point what I've said, that Roy Keane looks at that captain's position and looks at it from how he played the game and what was needed and what were the standards are. So Rio Ferdinand should know better, right, than to criticise Roy Keane for reacting in the way he did, because Roy lived and breathed Manchester United. He lived by the standards on the pitch, and he encouraged every player on the pitch. And sometimes, Rio knows.
So Rio's also worn the armband as well, so he knows the standards.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to know from both of them, to be honest with you, if they're making comments on it, well, what's the solution? Who do you see in the squad who you would like to take the armband from Bruno Fernandes? It's quite easy for us all, including ourselves, saying, oh, we'd pick this person or that person, or Bruno shouldn't have it. But come on, let's give a solution to it.
Yeah, but when you look at pundits and ex-footballers and all that out there, what they tend to do is dance around solving the problem, because they don't they don't come out and say this is how it should be solved most of the time, because they know that later on in life it'll come back and have egg on the face. In other words, you don't know what you're talking about. If they say, oh, this player should be, this is the solution, this is the solution. No, what they do is they comment on each other's comments, right? They see what's going out on the pitch. That's what they do. And then they try and avoid the hard questions us fans want. Now, we know, right? We know there is no one out there, right? As far as I'm concerned, well, I know there's no one out there besides Martinez who's capable of being a captain. We've got a squad, we've got a team, and they're not a team. We know that because we can see the performances. So there is only one or two possibilities to replace. But to be honest, waste of time replacing it at this moment. We are in chaos.
I wouldn't like to give it Martinez right now anyway.
I wouldn't.
I think he needs more time to settle in and bed in at Manchester United and get his game back on point, because I think he had a bit of a poor start this season, and obviously he's got that injury. That's going to take some time to get back to playing as he was last season. So for me, he needs a lot more bedding in time, Martinez, because you can see he's definitely got the quality and he's a main player for Manchester United. So we need to get him back to that level instead of having that microscope on him, that extra pressure of being captain.
Martinez has
I'm sure he will be in the future.
Yeah. Martinez has got a long way to go before he's back to the player what we've seen last year. Okay, a long way to go. So there's no way that captaincy is being changed from Bruno to Martinez anytime soon. And there's no one else out there who really deserves it.
Yeah. To be just sticking on the captaincy though, looking at Harry Maguire, the way he lost the captaincy, how he started then this season when he has played the games recently. You've got to give a little bit of credit here to Harry Maguire, the way he's handled it and he's come back. Do you think?
No. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't give Harry Maguire any credit whatsoever. Harry Maguire was 5th choice centre half, and just not good enough as a captain. There was no standards. No one listened to him. It was obvious, clear to everybody for a long, long time that Harry Maguire was not captain material on the pitch or off it.
But that captaincy, as we was discussing before, it was near enough forced on him. Like we said, Andy Mitten, when he discussed it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he said there was 2 people in front of Harry Maguire who he asked, they turned it down. So haven't you got to say fair play for standing up at it and taking the captaincy? Yeah,
he took the captaincy, okay, and then he just waffled when things were going wrong. When things were going wrong, he waffled, right? And it was a poor club what stood there and watched it deteriorate month after month, and it was poor from Harry Maguire. But Harry Maguire on the sideline, great talker. Great talker on the sideline while he weren't in the team. Okay. I like over the last couple of weeks, you can see Harry Maguire getting his confidence back. Okay. But he was a poor captain on and off the field, and he did not represent Manchester United in the way it should be. And Bruno, unfortunately, is going down that line because he's not setting the standards.
No, I totally agree. I'm not saying Harry Maguire was a great captain or anything like that, but I've just got to, point out that he's got some bottle there to take it when 2 players was asked before him who could very well be still in this squad and to take it. And I do think that needs pointing out that at least he took it and he took it on, and the amount of abuse he suffered whilst he was captain. And up until only recently, to come back the way he has, settled down, he's come in on a few games recently and he's played pretty well in my opinion. Started here in the Manchester derby. I don't think he'd put too much wrong, to be honest with you. You always know with Harry Maguire, whether the social media slander after the game, and there's been nothing on Harry Maguire. Yeah. So that tells you how good his performance as an individual was on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Not that we want that standard, listen, we want a higher standard, of course, but
when you look at how Harry Maguire got the captaincy, you have to say fair play to him. Okay, there's 2 people there in the squad, in the team, what turned the captaincy down. Okay, and then Harry Maguire, 3rd choice by the sound of it from the interview with Solskjaer and the way he explained it. So fair play to him.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, fair play to him. But unfortunately, it absolutely destroyed him. Now, a little bit time out of the limelight, not playing in that, he's come across, I want to fight for my place. Eric Ten Hag says he's quite happy for him to fight for his place. And that's where Harry Maguire is at the moment. But I have to admit, right, that to be 3rd choice captain, I think taking it there, right, the rest of the squad would have not took you seriously. So he was in an
impossible position.
An impossible
because he was
position.
Never then going to get the dressing room on side to him. It's like in any workplace, if you know your 3rd choice, how's everyone else in the workplace going to look at you? It's going to be like, you're 3rd choice, mate. I ain't listening to what you've got to say. And sometimes in workplaces that happens, and in the way the world is right now, it happens everywhere in workplaces, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It's like I know I'm 3rd fiddle to you and Webby, do you know what I mean? But I still do a job or try to.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you have to look at Harry Maguire as 3rd choice captain. Okay, how's he going to turn around and tell the 2 what was offered the captaincy what to do? How are they going to look at Harry Maguire? They were going to undermine him as if to say, "Who are you talking to? You don't tell me what to do." Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm better than you. You're 3rd choice. So I think that could have actually been Solskjaer's biggest mistake and the decline of what was going on. And to be honest, I think Harry Maguire a long time ago should have come out with it and said, I'm doing the best I can. Yeah. I was third choice here. But he should have come out. He should have come out and he should have backed himself. This is the position I was put in. I accepted the challenge. I know it's a difficult challenge, but I'm prepared to do it, unlike these two. And the quicker that comes out, then hopefully the better things can move on, because it is toxic and poison. And I think that you can point to that as the main reason. And that was Solskjaer's failing. And he should have dealt with it in a better way.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot to answer for as well, Solskjaer, by making him captain, and Maguire's performances and how really they deteriorated after not long getting that captaincy as well, because you've got to look at his first season. He was playing all right. Some people might point out there it was during like the COVID, the lockdown, etc. It was easy for most players, but you know, that's just one argument there in the past. If you want to discuss it, please do in the chat and the comments. But yeah, you don't expect anything to change going forward then for the rest of the season with the captaincy? I know I certainly don't anyway.
No, because it is what it is. You can't go and change the captaincy. There's no one there. And the player is there, my choice, he'll be out for a while. He won't get back to full fitness for quite a while. You won't see the best of him this season at all. I can't see that. And I think he's just there as captain in the wings. Bruno has to improve, get in the middle, and let's see what happens. But it's got to stop. This petulance, I mean, it does my head in, to be honest, and I have said it many times. And Roy really is only echoing what a lot of fans out there are saying. They don't see Bruno Fernandes as the captain of Manchester United. He doesn't fit everything what's needed. But the thing is, the biggest problem Bruno's got, that everything around him is carnage, is chaos, and the quality of players in a lot of the positions aren't good enough for a captain to lead this team to better things. So it's all to do for Bruno, but he would help himself by really controlling his own emotions.
Yeah, just going to dive back into the chat. Fozzo says Kieran should be number one out of second and third choice on here. So cheers for that, Fozzo. He didn't actually say that. But going on to Frankie T, the pressure is off Harry so he can relax and play his own game.
Yeah, well, you're playing your own game, aren't you?
Yeah.
Getting a fan club going.
No, he's actually not. He's saying something else. He actually said Kieran's still wet behind the ears. Yeah, which I can actually agree with you there, and I think you will as well.
Yeah. Well, I will agree on it, won't I? You know what I mean? Right, remind me what was said.
Yeah, Frankie T said the pressure's off Harry, so that's why he can relax and play his own game.
Yeah, well, the thing is, anyone under pressure can do and say the wrong things. You know what I mean? That's what pressure is. You know, it can make you do the wrong pass, do the wrong tackle, turn round at the wrong time. You know, that's pressure. Some captains can handle it, some can't. And at the end of the day, he couldn't handle the pressure. He shouldn't have been given the pressure.
Yeah,
should never have been given the pressure to be third choice. That just destroys everything inside that dressing room.
If you're looking at Erik ten Hag's recruitment as well, because for me, I don't think it's just about one player, one captain. I think you need leaders on the pitch, you know, the majority of the team. And, you know, if you're looking at the recruitment he's done since he's been here, Erik ten Hag, can you see that sort of mentality he's bringing in with, like, the leadership skills? I'm not too sure, apart from Martinez.
Well, if you look at Roy Keane, what he's saying.
I know Casemiro's come, he's won it all, etc. And I know people out there might fancy Casemiro as the captain, but...
Look, Roy Keane's telling you, and he's been telling you for a long time, right? There is no world-class players in there. They're not playing as a team. The transfers, what have come, they've been poor. They've been poor for a long... You know, if you go back to listening to Roy Keane, he's been telling us, you know, we have said it ourselves, right? Obviously, when we sign someone, we're all hopeful and everything. But Roy Keane tells you straight away because he sees what's going on the pitch based on what he was doing on the pitch and the team was doing on the pitch when he was around. And he can see that these players, a lot of them, what have been brought in, just aren't good enough. And it's as simple as that. So when Roy gets emotional, right, you have to look at what Roy's talking about when he's talking about players on the pitch, lack of ability, and Is it a team? Well, Royce doesn't see it as a team based on how he performed and on how the players performed. And if they weren't performing, it was also based on how they reacted to the captain. Well, obviously, they upped the game. And if you ever hear of anyone talking about Roy Keane, ex-players and all that, you know, the ex-players he played with, right, they've all
got high praises for him.
All
it
high
doesn't matter whether he's
praises.
opposition or not. And us as fans,
it can be controversial, but they've still got high praise for him, haven't they?
Well, yeah, of course. It can be controversial on the TV because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's all about sometimes getting the buzzwords out there for the social media, the clicks, etc. But I've got enough respect for the man. Some great memories as a fan growing up watching him. So for me, a lot of what he says has a lot of substance to it.
No, that's right. That's true.
I'd just like to thank everyone as well for getting involved in the
thank
chat.
you.
Bigging up today's video, to be honest with you. And on the captaincy and what we're talking about today, we're hoping to get... Do you think we've got that interview tomorrow or what?
We've got a great interview.
Yeah.
Which we do tomorrow, hopefully before the Newcastle game. And that'll be out on Thursday morning.
Depends how fast I am, to be honest with you. So I'll try and get it out as fast as I can.
Let me tease him.
I would try and put it out on Wednesday night, but with the Newcastle game going on, I don't think it's the right time to do it. So I'll try and put it out early Thursday morning, so you can have a bit of a watch at some point in your day.
Listen, we've got an interview coming up. We've not had this man on for a long, long while, so we're really looking forward to it. So what we'll do, if you've got our social media things and that, what are out there, like your Twitter, your Instagram and things like that, what I will do, if he wants to be number one on the channel, he will have to work hard tomorrow evening before the game and get it all out and let you know. So if he gets it all out on social media, by all means, he can have that number.
I can't believe that. I work hard all the time. It might not look it, trust me.
We've got an interview coming up, right? And I've been told, ask me questions, right, what no one else does. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll have to work extra hard. Hopefully I'm getting more pay as well from you, which I don't think that'll ever happen.
No. Don't send me on that. Pay? Yeah. Pay, what's that?
Yeah, exactly, on the Webby O'Neill channel.
Right.
Send your sort code and account number. But yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. It's much appreciated as always. If you've enjoyed the chat, just please smash a like, support the channel.
Yeah.
And like we said on the interview, hopefully we'll get that out on Thursday for you. But we will be back tomorrow as well with a match preview of Manchester United versus Newcastle. Give our overall thoughts. It's starting 11, team selections, result, all that kind of stuff.
Do that in the morning.
If you're all available, please come and get involved. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
Busy day tomorrow, so...
Well, it's a busy day for me tomorrow, by the sounds of it.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Good night.